Welcome everyone to the second episode of our Techno Lead Talk Series 2022, where we bring you some of the best speakers to share their leading journey and help you in your career growth. I'm Imai Mushraf, Events Coordinator at QA Talks Community and your host for today. Before we get started, here's a quick introduction on who we are. QA Talks Community, QAT, is a community-based initiative and platform for people to network, interact, and learn from experts in the industry and esteemed public speakers who aim to deliver knowledge, inspiration, and mentoring to a variety of audiences. Our mission is to share testing knowledge and experience to the global QA community through our events and conferences while upholding the value of sustainability in our efforts. Next up, here are some of our latest opportunities and initiatives. Join our Blogger of the Month space, where you can become a contributor and write high-end content blogs and share them with the community. Each month, we select one blogger from the QA community to be rewarded, certified, and announced with the title Blogger of the Month. We also have our upcoming conference, the Codeless Conference 2022, which is a global conference for all testers, test automation engineers, SDET managers, community leaders, and everyone who's interested to see where and how the world's latest testing technology can help you move forward. We are looking for some more speakers to join our conference, so if there's anyone with us today that's interested, please feel free to get in touch with us after the session for further discussion. Moving on, we have our TechnoX training, the courses that allow you to learn practically and start using your skills right away. We're very flexible with course times and schedules, so if you can't find something that works for you, simply get in touch. For more information, the links are in the chat. Lastly, we would like to thank our sponsors and partners for their engagement and support. We owe a great appreciation to them in making all of our events and interactions possible. We're so close to introducing our amazing speaker for today, but before we do, here's a few reminders. If you have any questions, you are most welcome to leave them in the chat so that we may get to them during the Q&A session, which lasts 10 minutes. In case your question does not get answered, please be assured that they will be answered offline after the session. Of course, you're all free to engage and network in the chat. And if you have anything to say at the end of the session to give your feedback, you may feel free to do so. Finally, we can bring out and introduce our speaker for today. We have with us Ms. Ramella Basenko, QA lead at Agile Engine and certified full advanced level tester. She's here to talk about test process improvement as a result of QA process audit. We're so excited to have you here with us, Ms. Basenko. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
I would also like, go ahead.
Thank you for introducing me. So I'm ready to share my screen, right? So it's my turn right now.
Yes, go ahead.
Cool. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm really happy to participate in your event, and I would like to introduce you the topic that Omaima just mentioned. Well, I will tell you a true story, but before that, I will share some details about me if you are interested, just in case. So today we will be talking about test process improvement as a result of quality assurance process audit. About myself, just a bit. I'm a QA engineer. Right now, I'm holding leading position at Agile Engine company. I'm working here for 5 years, but my general experience is more than 8 years in QA area, and 5 of them I'm working as a QA leader, managing hybrid teams, automation teams, manual teams, so different teams. And for my current customer, I'm working as a QA director. So I'm trying to adjust all of the processes, certify projects and QA processes within those projects. So doing very interesting strategic stuff, let's say. But I was working as a manual QA engineer before, made some automation. So my experience is pretty wide and various. I am very passionate about my work, and I'm trying to motivate people also to be certified. As Omaima mentioned, I have a full advanced level certificate in STQB. So in my location, I'm like an ambassador of SQI and STQB. So I provide any help to people who would like to pass this certification. And also, small spoiler, Agile Engine started hiring company in India, just in case you are interested. So check out our website probably we have some position especially for you. Well, what about our topic? So I thought that I will start with a true story, and then we will be going through the agenda. I will tell you what is key process audit, why do we need this audit, and what we can gain as a result as an audit, how we can improve processes, and what platforms, what frameworks we could use to do that. Well, my true story started almost 2 years ago, before the pandemic, when one of the projects within my company, but that was another client. I'm not working with this client, and I was invited as an independent auditor. So some weird situation happened to this client, to this project, and he wanted to get more details why the result of work of our team at Agile Engine differs from their expectation. And I was asked as a key leader from other project to assess the process and suggest some improvements. Maybe we have problem on our side, and maybe it's something complex related to our customer as well, because we are working in outsource model, as an outsource model. That's why actually both sides could have some problems, and that's why the result could not be the best we wanted to have. This time I already had one of my advanced level certificates in STQB. It was test manager, and while preparation, I learned some information about existing test process improvement models, about how to measure quality assurance process level, and so on. So I will be a bit prepared theoretically, but I was asked to do some practical stuff and provide my opinion, provide my feedback, and I had to do that in some official form, let's say, not just saying, well, those people are doing their best, and right now the result is worse because of something. But I had to do some official feedback, like provide some summary, and let me say what I did and how I came to some conclusion and to some summary. So what is key process audit? There are a few types of audits exist across all of the industries, actually. It's not applicable only to software projects because some other companies, which, for example, produce whatever you want, actually. They could produce some maybe lamps, maybe some chairs, so whatever you want. They all could need audits of their process, not only quality assurance process, but in general, the process. And then their owners could get some information on why return of investment is not so high, what could be improved to do everything better, and so on. Usually audits ensure that your quality assurance system is sound, everything is working fine, and you have not to tune something. But frankly speaking, it's impossible. You need to tune sometimes something maybe not huge, maybe not so critical, but you need to adjust processes. Also, audits could be necessary in case of ISO 9001 registration. Probably you heard about this kind of certificate, and to get this one for your organization, you have to undergo audit. So 3 types of audits, which I mentioned, they exist, and I will go one by one just to explain what is that. Third-party audit audits, they are done by an outside independent audit organization. In case of this mentioned ISO 9001 audit, the independent organization is the registrar. They normally do not have an interest in a final outcome, but they come to you, to your company, to your organization, and they measure level of compliance to their expectations, to their requirements. And this third party could be a government employee, firm hired by the company, maybe some private firm conducting these audits, but final result should be getting this ISO certificate. Second party audit, this is an audit from those who have a deep interest in final outcome. This could be you auditing your suppliers, or your customers auditing you. The audit could be called a survey or an assessment as well. So for example, I have some client, I am a company, outsourced company, I provide IT services, and my customers want to know so how the things going on and what feedback I can provide as a like employee. And from other side, they could go to me and say, well, we would like to measure what are you doing because we are paying money to you. Well, so this will be second party audit. It's done inside of the organization, inside of the people working together. And it's actually another one level. First party audits are audits done internally. They are a management tool with the emphasis on continuous improvement. The auditors must be independent of the audit area. The audit should be aligned with the company goals and metrics. So happened to me, actually. I was working for the company, but I had different client. I still have this client and work with for this client, but we had problems with another one project, and those client was a different one, and we had to do some audit to provide the feedback, provide suggestions for improvement. So in this case, it was first party audit. So how to understand that your project or maybe some other project, but you can be involved partially to this one, needs some audit to perform this QA process audit. We're talking today about only QA process audit because actually we are talking about all around of the QA. So first of all, you have no clear visibility of software quality or experience process bottlenecks. Sometimes people say that, well, everything going not so well or everything is going bad, but no one could tell you numbers. What means bad? What means not expected? Like, for example, I expected 10, like mark to be 10 for my work and I got 8. Then you have some visibility, you understand numbers. If you say just everything went bad, no one knows what is bad. Next one, a reason your project workload increases, but your current QA process doesn't allow scaling. It happens regularly to different projects, especially not so huge size, when we have a lot of tasks, a lot of people working for development, for example, but we have not a big number of QAs, and there is a time pressure. QAs cannot do all of the work they are assigned to do, and so on. So we should understand, we should check, and we should provide the feedback about how to improve the situation. So definitely we have some bottleneck, but no one knows exactly where. And usually people are trying to push on QA and say, be quicker, please do whatever you can do for this, do your best, and so on. But not everything depends on QA, actually. That's why we need also to audit the process. Well, so next one, reason your current QA process prevents you from transitioning to a different development methodology, taking different approach to infrastructure management or rolling other processes changes. For example, you worked for a long time with waterfall. Just imagine this crazy situation. It happens, and there are a lot of companies having big products still working by waterfall. But sometime your organization decided to move to Agile. And finally, everyone figured out that everything goes bad. You couldn't get expected results and so on. So probably QA processes also should be adjusted, should be going another way. And that's why you need to audit what do you have right now. And last one reason, you need to pass a product process certification, as I just mentioned, ISO 9001. Maybe it's a different one. There are a lot of certifications that could be compliant to your company. So they have some requirements set by corresponding standard, and to comply the standard, you should undergo audit and see what are the gaps within your organization and within your current process. What do we gain as a result of audit when we have done that, or we are planning to do that, and we are planning about what do we gain? First of all, we can get detailed analysis of current situation in the project. So we will get some numbers, we will get probably some details, all level of maturity, and so on. Next one, we can improve existing process according to recommendations and choose an improvement model. We will be talking about improvement models, which are popular a bit later. Improve testing efficiency, of course, because sometimes we can say that QA process goes well, QA process goes bad, and nothing else. But we should measure and understand level of this testing efficiency. Fourth, get return of investment of process improvement and testing overall. So we should understand why do we need this audit and what do we gain actually as a result. So we should expect some return of investment from this process we are planning to do or we have done already. So we should understand that our decision was reasonable to do this audit. And the last one, make our customers satisfied with project results, of course. So that was my goal as well. I had to provide the summary to make people happy. I mean, people on the working for the project, people who are paying for their work, so the customer himself, and so on. So there are 5 benefits we can get from this audit, which we are planning to make or we have already done. So from what to start audit process? We have 5 steps to kick off and perform QA process audit. First of all, you should initiate the process audit. In my case, I was asked to do that. If you are a team lead and you feel that this kind of process, I mean audit, will be useful for you, for your customer, for your team, for your company, you could initiate the process audit by yourself and propose this and say that we can gain these benefits, which I just mentioned before, and let's do it. So do we have time? If we have time, let's do it. Second one, we should diagnose the present circumstances. So for example, why you initiate this process audit. So you feel that, for example, you have lack of QA resources to do current work, to deal with current workload. So you feel that you really need to understand what's going on. Third, collect information by interviewing of people involved to the current process. QA leads, team members, maybe team leads, dev leads. So it depends on team structure and project structure. So you should review the existing process. After you initiate it, diagnose circumstances, you have to start collecting information. Then first step will be composing audit summary document based on replies analysis and selected test process improvement models. So when we have a model, we have some structure about what we should measure, what we should assess, and we should compose finally some audit summary document. It can be flexible. It can be done by your own, like as you think is better for you. So the structure could be as per your wish. Actually, there are no special requirements for that, but it should be documented, not just say it, well, I measured, everything is fine or everything is bad. No, it should provide some summary, some feedback. It should be shortened, but based on some documentation. And the last step here, to suggest improvement models or plans that are best for the current project. So if you are saying that we have a bottleneck here, we have lack of key resources, we have, for example, bad management or something else, you should suggest what to improve. For example, as per our audit results, we need to hire a few QA people more, for example, or we need developers to take less story points for the sprint, and so on. So it should sound like you propose something like special, something in detail. So those are the steps to perform the whole QA process audit: kickoff and perform. Kickoff actually is initiate process audit and diagnose. Everything else is related to performing QA audit itself. Well, what's important also, continuous test process improvement. There is a domain cycle or plan, do, check, act cycle, also could be known as PDSA cycle. Probably someone of you worked or heard something about project management methodology. They like to use these models because it's saying us about continuous improvements. In our case, it will be continuous quality improvement model. They consist of out of a logical sequence of 4 repetitive steps for continuous improvement and learning. What I just mentioned: plan, do, check, or study, and act. It can be applicable to any kind of project, once again, not limited to software development. So project management could be working with lamps production and so on, as I just mentioned. So what's important here, it should be continuous. So you do this audit not one time, you do it periodically. So you made it one time, then you plan for the next time. You undergo the same structure, you collect data once again, you use some questionnaire, you get results, you provide feedback. So something can go better after you make improvements, but something can go worse. Something can change. So people could change. So there are a lot of circumstances to analyze. But what I would like to say once again, and to make an accent here, that this process should be continuous. So you should repeat it time to time. It doesn't mean that you like conduct these audits each and every week. Probably it's enough to do it once a month, maybe once a quarter, maybe once a half of the year, and even once per year. But it depends on your project needs, on your organization needs, and so on. So you should understand it should be repeatable. Well, what are the industry standard test process improvement models? When I studied materials for ISTQB certification as a test manager, I read a special book for this certification written by Rex Black, and there were process improvement models described, which are most popular across the world and which people use. Most of them are pretty old. They are not new, actually, but they are standard. So externally developed process assessment models can provide starting point for you. So to be used as some standard framework and a way of measuring your process. Of course, you can have your own idea how to measure what you want right now, what you have right now, what improvements would be better to do. But if you don't have such experience yet, you would like to start with something, I kindly recommend to take some existing framework. This is actually flexible. You can do something as per your own and use this model, update it, and like use it as it is. So there are options as usual for you. Well, there is one generic improvement model called Ideal. It can be used for any process. Of course, it's very large, has a lot of details. I won't deep dive into detail for each and every model. I will just explain in a few words what is that, and then I will tell you what I chose and what I used those first time, and what will be my next steps in my experience in my career. For industry standard process improvement models are widely used in the world, as I mentioned. They are first, test maturity model integration, TMMI, test process improvement next, so-called TPI next, critical testing process, CTP, and systematic test and evaluation process called STEP. They all mentioned in a book, they all mentioned in certification syllabus. They also could be Googled by you. You can read more in detail about them, but I will tell you a few words because I had to decide which one to use for the first time when I was asked to conduct this audit. Well, TMMI, or Test Maturity Model Integration. It improves the software testing practices for the organizations and also elevates the IT standards for it. TMMI is gradually finding its way in many IT organizations to streamline and ease their testing processes. It's curated by Illinois Institute of Technology, whereas TMMI was curated by TMMI Foundation. So you can open their website, you can find a lot of documentation around this framework. They provide all of the details about how to measure, what the levels are, so how to use their model and so on. So just Google it. And by the way, at the end of my entire presentation, I will provide some links. I believe that Talks community will send out my presentation, this PPTX, to you, and you can like check out the links and read more, because we unfortunately don't have enough time to discuss everything in detail. But if we have some requests to do that, we will do it next time. So the next model was TPI Next. It reflects the changes in today's business dynamics in technology developments. TPI Next offers specific, balanced, and correlated improvement paths for test organizations. The TPI Next model provides better understanding of correlation between current test process and adjacent processes. And it will help discussing and addressing issues for improving the overall software processes. And why I haven't used that, it's more complex. I will make a spoiler a bit. I was choosing for TMMI, actually. I choose TMMI, I'm sorry. So the next one was critical testing processes. I believe that this one is most old from all four. It's non-prescriptive process model. It's flexible. It describes the important software processes which exist for each and every project, what should happen in them, but doesn't put them in any order of improvement. So you can make improvements in any order you want. So there is no prescription like improve this and this and this, and only then you can improve this process. No, it's flexible. You can adjust it to your project. So that's fine. It allows you to use business value, organizational pain to select the order and importance of improvement. So it depends on your project situation, once again. And last one was systematic test and evaluation process step. As a structured testing, this is a structured testing methodology, also used as a content-based model for improving the testing process. Systematic test and evaluation processes does not require the improvements once again occur in a specific order. Actually, frankly speaking, I would say that you can take any model you want. Why I choose TMMI? I felt that for the customer who will be presented with summary, with what we have done, what is audit and so on, it will be easier to understand. And for me, it will be easier to actually apply to the real life. So I choose TMMI model. You can see the maturity goals and levels of this model on the right side, this picture. When you Google TMMI website, you will have the whole documentation where you can read more in detail about each and every level. There are 5 levels of maturity, starting from initial, then phase definition, integration, management, measure, and optimization. So testing happens on each and every level, but the specifics depends on what you would like to gain. For example, you have some testing, debugging goals, you have some test planning, basic techniques and tools are used, but you don't control and monitor this process yet. And you have to go from level 2 to level 3, for example. So you should measure and analyze where you are right now, and then to understand and summarize what you need to move to the next level. So what I did, I chose the model, as I just mentioned. I composed questionnaire to use during interviews with those team members who had problem within their project. So questionnaire was created by me, but you can get, once again, some ideas on what to include to this questionnaire to have, and based on the answers, you can measure and understand where they are, where you are, where your team is. So questionnaire contained different sections like test planning, test execution, test monitoring and control. More in detail, you can read once again in TMMI documentation, official documentation. Finally, based on audit results, when I interviewed QA team lead, I interviewed dev lead, I interviewed someone from the team, so there were a few people. They were provided with this questionnaire. We sat down all together and we decided what is the level of maturity for each and every question I have in my questionnaire. Then I collected the whole feedback. I counted how many answers, what from them are positive, negative, and I made some summary of what's going on with these projects. And finally, I provided some recommendations for improvement of the current process. So the steps to apply this model to certain process was, first of all, we need to identify existing testing maturity level. So knowing this current maturity level is very important. It's the first step actually towards TMMI, because you need to understand to which one level you have to move. Then we need to set a target. After all, evaluation is done. Next is the time to set the target. For example, we are now on level 2, and we would like to control and monitor our testing process. So we need to move to the next level. And that's why we need to set this goal and say what do we need to actually reach this wanted maturity level. Then when organization figures out or what are the gaps between the current and desired maturity level, it prepares step-by-step break of the structure to attain its end goal. Doing these things step by step helps in achieving the goals easily, and hence organizations break their complete efforts into steps. It's usually very important to make your improvements robust. If you come and say, please do the whole list of improvements, people won't do them, just believe me. You should go step by step, by small steps. You improve something small, you see that it works, then you apply one more step. So just step by step. So keep calm, slow down, and don't provide people with the whole list of improvements you want to do. So they will be afraid, they should be in panic maybe, they won't do everything. They imagine that it's something huge, something critical, they are responsible for that, and they will feel uncomfortable. So just go step by step. Then first, review feedback, solution, and repeat. As I mentioned before, test process improvement is continuous process, you should repeat it. So right now, organization is at any maturity level on TMMI, and it requires continuous review, feedback, solution, and repeat. So you should understand, are you moving higher, or maybe you coming like to the lowest step, the level, I'm sorry. So everything happens. So organization changes, people change, and so on. That's why you should control all of the stuff periodically. Let's say once per year, once per half of a year. So it depends. Implementation of TMMI without adopt helps IT organization to enhance their testing practices and brings many benefits actually to organization. About benefits, I told you before, TMMI application also will provide the same benefits to your organization, to your team, and your project. So I think in general, this is it, but I would like you to pay attention to the references. I provided here the links. First of all, it's TMMI official documentation. They have official website. You can download documentation about application of this model, for example, to agile projects, not agile projects, and so on. So there are a lot of details there, and 1 hour, 2 hours are not enough to discuss everything in detail. Also, I have a brief description of all test process improvement models, which I described to you just in a few words. TPI Next model white papers, just to read, just for your information. Also, there is a helpful guide to test process improvement from Guru 99. I believe that you know about this website. There are a lot of useful articles around there. Then an article about how to use domain cycle for continuous quality improvement. I mentioned that all of the processes like quality improvement, process improvement, they should be continuous, they should be repeatable. Now, example of survey based on TMMI level 2 to 5. So this is a survey or questionnaire, or call it however you want, but it's a kind of like example of questions you could use, you can adjust them, you can change them, all depends on your project situation. And test process improvement practical guide on TPI, test process improvement step by step. Probably it would sound for you like better fit for your current situation than other models. So you should definitely decide if you would like to conduct some audit. You don't need to take the only model I just presented to you. You can take any. And by the way, I mentioned at the start that I will say what I'm planning to do next. I will create some assessment model by myself. It should be special for my client, for which one I currently work. And this will be something based on everything I told you, but it will be some custom and special. You also can do it. And if you are interested, probably we will have another one webinar after some time. I think this is it. And I see that there are some questions in chat. Probably we should answer them or maybe read them. So I don't know who is responsible for that. So
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramella, for such a spectacular session on test process improvement as a result of QA process audit. I'm sure we'll have some great feedback from our audience. So before we get into the Q&A, actually, let's hear from some of them that joined us, whether they found it insightful and all of that. So will any of our audience members be willing to give us some feedback on today's session? You can feel free to, turn your mic on.
Yeah, I see that there were some questions coming even before I started my talk. I see the question about any structured career path for full stack QA. I believe that this participant is asking for QAs who can do everything. I mean, automation, manual stuff, maybe test planning, test management. Well, I will share my experience. Actually, I am those who can, this QA who can do everything, but it's impossible. Frankly speaking, when you are working as a QA lead, for example, you're already QA manager, you won't have a lot of time to apply your practical skills. For example, I have an automation team working with me. I can read code. I can even like code something, but I don't have time. So my primary skill here is to manage the process, to work the team as a system. And if I need something, I can just read or ask. Well, I believe that it's good to understand things. It's good to have skills to make them. But in general, you should decide your direction, about your direction. What do you need? What do you want? Do you want to be highly technical specialist? Do you want to be automation specialist? Or you would like to manage teams? So it's really important because you won't do everything at the same time. So it's just my opinion and my experience, how I feel that. Also, interesting questions about importance of ISTQB or any certification. Well, I conduct a lot of webinars about ISTQB certification. And by the way, if your organization wants me to present something on this topic, I will do it with pleasure because in Ukraine, we usually do that. I explain people what you will gain when you're certified. And people usually ask me, will I get more money? Will I get higher salary? What happens if I have this certification? Or maybe if you are interviewer, I usually interview people within Agile Engine company for different projects. And people ask me, if I have a certification, will you interview me like in another way? No, ladies and gentlemen, I will be frankly speaking. Certifications is just for you. You will get this paper. That's fine. I will see, for example, as an interviewer or your future team lead that you have this certification, and I will expect you to be maybe a bit more smart than other people coming to me without certification. Probably it doesn't mean anything. Sometimes people pass the certification and in a few years they forget everything. So it's just to you to systemize your knowledge, to make everything in your head like structured. So I like this stuff because while preparing, I have to learn a lot of materials, a lot of books, a lot of details. They're useful, as you can see, because when I studied test manager material for ISTQB, I got this information about this process improvement. I didn't know about that before. Really, I didn't know, but I got this information. I remember that. And when I was asked to conduct some kind of audit, no one knew about that in detail. They just wanted me as an independent person, as an independent QA lead to provide my opinion. But I think they got the better result they expected because they got the document based on some framework. They got a structured summary. So why not? It's useful. So I believe that certification will help you to structure your knowledge, to get some new knowledge, and maybe look like a standard person within QA community. So it's a standardization from one side of the knowledge. When people say to each other, they talk on the same language, let's say, same technical language, same QA language. So I think it's important, but it's not obligatory, and it doesn't show your, I don't know, level of salary. It's as per Ukraine. So my subjective opinion. Oh, well, what else? Generic questionnaire. Yep. I provided the link. I believe that we will be sending this PPTX, right? Omaima, we
Yeah,
will be
we can
sending.
arrange
Yep.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. So people will get these links to open and to read what could be inside. It's up to you. You can adjust. You can provide some questions like, for example, for the team, if you want to measure their test process in general, you could ask them, for example, do you have retrospectives? Do you collect some data after retrospectives? Do you collect some data, some metrics from bugs coming from support, from customers, and so on? So questions could be various, really. It's up to you. There are some examples. You can take them as it is. You can create your own. So it depends. I want to make steps as auditor. Oh, what course certification? Well, this is a good question. I will tell you what happens next and what certification do we have in ISTQB. As far as I know, we have expert level. So to go to the expert level, you should have advanced, at least one certificate which relates to the direction you want to take on advanced, but on advanced level, there is a certification called Test Process Improvement or something like that. I don't remember right now exactly, but it's about test process improvements. The study material is about audits and everything we discussed today. So more in detail, more in deep. And about this certification, I believe that it's good for auditors, but it will be for QA auditors, you understand? So you won't be an auditor for the organization which produces lamps or chairs, but you will be an auditor of QA processes. So definitely useful. If you take this one, that's great. But as far as I know, in Ukraine, there are no experts yet. It's the most expensive certification from ISTQB portfolio. For now, it's pretty difficult to gain, but why not? So I would kindly recommend. Maybe I will get this one after some time, but not right now. Well, at that point in the agile life cycle, do you think we should do? Yep, I think we should, because I've started to do that for my current customer, my current organization. They want to make improvements. I mean, some upper management, VP of engineering, you know, if you have this kind of person in your organization, maybe some CEO or CTO, someone could ask you as a QA lead, as the one, even as a single QA in the team. So please, what do you think? How we can improve our existing process to deliver quicker, to make our customers more happy, and so on. So you should provide some feedback. But in my opinion, it should be based on something more formal, much more formal. That's why you would need this QA process audit. It shouldn't be so maybe difficult, so detailed. Maybe you will have something more simple, much more simple. Maybe you will have some 10 questions to like measure what do you have right now and what do you want to gain. For example, some time ago, long time ago, I faced this challenge for one of my projects here at Agile Engine for my customer, current customer. They have a lot of projects, but the same customer owns them. When they had for one project regression duration for 3 months, just imagine. So manual testers do the regression for 3 months. It's too much. And customers told me, well, please do something to make them able to regress for 2 weeks. So 3 months, 2 weeks. You imagine the difference, you feel the difference. And I had to provide some feedback. What do we need to improve? What do we need to apply? We applied actually automation and some process changes. But in general, I had to measure what we have and why it happens that situation takes place. So it depends, of course, but Agile also requires audits. If a team are in lower level of key maturity, should we stop the team from deploying code? I think no, but it depends. Once again, you should measure what do you gain and what do you lose, because sometimes it's better to make some changes in parallel. You can stop a part of the team and try to adjust their work. You could not stop anything, but do a small improvement step by step to the existing and working process. to stop everything at the time, it's not the best idea I can imagine, actually. I tried to propose some, options. Please stop doing this, we will stop everything. And for example, in a half of a year, we will start everything quicker and so on. And when we measured how much money we will lose, we decided that, well, we won't stop anything, but we will do improvements by small steps. And it worked. So I kindly not recommend like to stop everything at the same time. No, let team provide the code. For example, let me find the situation in my head. For example, dev team does not write unit tests for now, for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they don't know how to do that. They are not educated enough. And you see that there are a lot of bugs coming from devs because of no unit tests. And you say, well, we need to write unit tests, then to make some automation, then to make some manual key and so on. But the first step is to write this unit tests. You don't stop everyone. You just can say that, well, you have 10 developers in your team. Let 5 developers start writing unit tests, stop their work, for example. So a part of developers will stop their work and learn how to do unit tests, but other part will continue working. You're not losing money, you're not losing your customers. Maybe you will lose some pace of development, but in general, you will try to apply these improvements to your project. So I recommend to do that. If no one, yeah, I believe that there are no other questions. If you have any questions, just raise your hand or maybe write them to our chat. So thank you very much. It's very important that the topic is useful for you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ramella, for answering the questions and again for the fantastic session. It was very insightful and helpful to me at least, and of course to our audience. They've asked questions, so they've interacted with you, which means they basically took away a lot from the session today. So thank you so much once again. Just like the speaker said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask while we still have till the end. But we are closing off pretty soon. Just to say thank you, Ms. Ramella, for joining us, and to our audience, we hope that this session has been helpful. And finally, we would really appreciate as well if you could check out some of our links in the chat. That includes our social media and upcoming events and initiatives. That's pretty much all from me. And yes, we will be sharing the presentation as well, hopefully by email, so you can have a look at that too.
Yep. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for inviting me to QA Talks community. If you have any questions to me, you can ping me directly, guys. So don't hesitate to do that. I am the live person as you all. So please ask questions if you have any.
All right, so I guess that wraps up today's session. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Take care, guys. Thank you. Have a good luck. Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a good day.